will now call to order the February 6, 2025 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners Business Meeting. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please do the roll call for us?
Yes, thank you, Chair. First, our staff support today, Clerk to the Board, Andrew Jaraki, County Counsel, Jane Veto. Roll call, Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Commissioner Fireside.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Chair Roberts.
Here. I will now ask you to stand. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to what's up first is our public communication. Testimony is limited to 3 minutes. I ask the comments to be respectful and courteous to all. As a reminder, you can email submissions to public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as a part of the public record. I will now open the meeting for public testimony. I will take in-person testimony first. I'll ask my colleagues to please hold your comments until after I've closed the public communication portion. So, Clerk, would you please moderate in person and virtually the testimony for us? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll begin with in-person testimony. As a reminder, if you are attending the business meeting today and would like to speak in person, please fill out a blue card that can be found by the entry room to the hearing room and deposit it in the box. I'll call on them in the order that they are received. First, I have Natalie Lutmer of Happy Valley. Natalie Lutmer, you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm back again, 5th time's the charm, and that's what I'm hoping for. Again, this is regarding the Kaiser monthly premium going from $88.46 to $303.20, an increase of $214.75, and that is until the EA union contract is settled, and then it magically goes back to the $88.46. So to make it clear, I'm not trying to bargain. I'm not talking about any of the bargaining issues. I'm only commenting on this Kaiser issue. And in thinking about what I wanted to speak about today, because coming up 5 times talking about the same issue, you kind of run out of saying the same thing over and over again. How many different ways can I say you're taking money out of our paychecks that we didn't budget for, that this was my income, that this affects me every single day, just not the week that I'm here, just not for these 3 minutes, that this is in my daily budget. This goes when I buy my food, when I'm paying my utility bill, which of course increased. You know, these are all things that my family has to worry about every single day. So how many different ways, how many different parts of that can I talk about? The part I'm going to talk about, again, I talked about the SPIRIT acronym that we have here at the county and trust. And I think when I was a child and a teen, my parents tried to instill to me about how easily trust is lost. Once you break it, it's gone, and it's really hard to get that trust back. And I didn't understand that concept. And so obviously, you know, as a teen, sometimes you make very stupid choices, and I made my share of stupid choices, and I broke that trust. And I think nothing was a more sick feeling in my stomach than to know that that trust between myself and my parents was gone. And it's like, how do you get that trust back? And I try to instill that into my children, that this trust is so important. So I've raised 6 children. 3 of them are adults at this point. I think I've done a decent job and instilling in them then that trust is the one thing between them and I that allows us to communicate and to work together. And once we break that trust, it's so much harder to work together, to believe anything that's being told to me from them, or for them to believe me if I break that trust. And I will say my division at the county, my direct supervisors, I admire and I trust them. And I think that makes this so much easier for me to handle, because I do have a division with leaders that I do look up to. Trust, then, when we go to the higher levels, it's hard to get that trust back. Taking the money out of our paychecks in this manner with no notice broke the trust that we had with those higher levels of county leadership. And that is one of those things where you think sometimes just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And I really feel like that in this case, that's something that should have been looked at. Is this choice worth breaking that trust that I now have in the upper levels of county leadership? And, you know, again, when we talk about that SPIRIT acronym, it means we're able to work through disagreements, we address wrongs, and we make it right. So once again, I am imploring you, this trust in our leadership has been damaged. Please take steps to make this right. Please stop taking this money out of my paycheck. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. And I would just encourage you to stick around. County Administrator is going to address a couple points, so thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Those are all the in-person testimony requests I've received. This is a final call. If you are attending the meeting in person today and would like to speak, this is your last opportunity to fill out a blue card to speak. Seeing none, Mr. Chair, with your approval, I'll now move to online testimony. If you are attending this meeting virtually and would now like to speak, I'll ask you to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. First, I see Christine Kennedy. Christine Kennedy, I'll unmute you. Please introduce yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Christine Kennedy. I've testified several times earlier this month about another issue. Today, I am testifying as a taxpayer of Clackamas County. I live in Lake Oswego. I've lived in Lake Oswego for 10 years. I moved here to be close to my grandchildren. I was a registered nurse from 1975 until 2020. Just happened to have planned to retire my license on that date because you have to have a certain number of clinical hours. So I found myself in Lake Oswego with my daughter and my grandchildren, and I was just happy as a clam. And then the COVID hit. So the COVID, I sound like an old person. Anyway, the pandemic. And as a community health activist, that's how I see myself, I got involved with my concern over community health with the commissioner group. So I spoke quite a few times. I'm a systems thinker, very much pro-vaccine. I distinctly remember getting my polio vaccine. My mother was a nurse. She had taken care of children in iron lungs. And she was scared to death. We couldn't go out. We couldn't get in the water. And there were 4 of us under 5. And I remember going to my dad's office and getting my polio shot. So that is a part of who I am and always will be. And as I went into my college years and tried to figure out what I wanted to do, I eventually decided I should be a nurse. And so I became a nurse in 1975, and I was in the first group that didn't wear their caps, if that tells you anything. So my philosophy in community health is that we need to be sustainable, not exploitive. Our healthcare system needs to be changed. We need to pay more attention to basic health, for example, vaccinations. What's happening with our vaccination rate right now? Are people afraid to get vaccinated if they have brown skin? Are they afraid to go into your, just asking. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm white. I'm very privileged. So anyway, here we are. And I am all about issues around health. And right now the word is trauma. And we heard that loud and clear at the national, federal level. And to me, threat to emotional safety is probably the most basic threat there is. I'm all about trust. I'm all about being able to speak up. The last time I testified, not the last time, but at one point I testified and Commissioner West acknowledged that I had a unique perspective, and I appreciated him saying that. So thank you for your time, and I just wish you the best in terms of leadership and making decisions to benefit our community health. And I wish you good luck and good trust with one another. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine.
Next, I see Michelle Shimke. Michelle Shimke. I'll allow you to speak, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Michelle Shimke. I'm in the Behavioral Health Department, and I'm speaking following Natalie's lead regarding the Kaiser premium. I just wanted to, again, I am also not bringing up bargaining points or anything like that, but just bringing up how the increase in the Kaiser premium has directly impacted my life as well as those of my colleagues. I have a lot of health issues, and so moving to Providence was not an option. It's not an option for me to change all of my specialists and my care team. I am struggling to pay my bills right now. January was a really hard month with a lot of unexpected financial strain. And this was so debilitating and continues to be such a debilitating issue. And with the threat of not getting back pay for the increase in premium is also a very large fear that I have. I also want to speak to my privilege. I don't have a family. It is just me, but like I said, I do have multiple medical issues that I have to pay a lot of out-of-pocket money for. And so I also want to express how this has caused me to, need to take more PTO and sick leave so that I can deal with these things and the emotional strain and all of these things as well, which impacts the service I'm able to give to our community and to our constituents. I'm not the only one that is going through this. We are struggling, and we are hoping for help. And I want to also thank Natalie for your words about trust. I want to trust the county. I want to trust our leaders. And I agree with her that my direct supervisors, my direct management are amazing and is really a huge reason why I continue working for the county, and I want to continue working for the county. But I will be transparent that there will be a large group of people leaving if things don't get figured out soon. And that we feel like we are being heard and taken care of, because right now we feel like we are just being thrown out to the side and we don't matter. And that's a horrible feeling to have when we are working so hard for our community. Like I said, I work for the Behavioral Health Department. I work with children with complex needs and families. I want to be there for my families 100%. And unfortunately, with so much going on in our personal lives because of these financial strains, it's becoming more and more difficult to do. And with all of the federal trauma that is going on right now, it's a lot. So thank you for this time to speak. And I really hope we can build up our trust together again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
This is a final call. If you are attending the meeting virtually and would like to speak, to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. Again, this is a final call. If you are attending this meeting virtually and would like to speak, please raise your hand. Mr. Chair, that concludes those that I see for both in-person and virtual public testimony today.
Thank you, Clerk. I'm going to now open it up for commissioner comments, but before I do, I wanted to give Gary an opportunity to make a couple comments. Gary?
Thank you, Chair. So, on the county's intranet page, this is a web page only for county employees, under the Human Resources Department page, under Employee and Labor Relations, lists all the county economic packages, proposals offered to the Employees Association represented employees. It's listed. And the first bullet says, insurance premium reimbursements for employees on Kaiser Insurance who are incurring extra premium costs. So the board, you have authorized this. It's on the internet page. I encourage employees to please review that page and then discuss with your union leadership. Thank you. Thank
you, Gary. Commissioner West?
Yeah, thank you. I'm totally empathetic to the cost of insurance premiums. I think that there's a lot of things that we need to change about our healthcare system, and it's just too expensive, period. Often these changes happen, and they're outside the control of the county. We get noticed that, hey, your insurance premium is going up, here's the new plan, or here's what's available to your staff and to the people that work in Clackamas County. There are public meetings that are worth watching. where this was talked about openly it sounds like far before the staff ever knew about it, where Evelyn and HR came and presented before the county. And you'll see some of the concerns that we had, I know I did, around the type of coverage that was offered, the lack of coverage that was offered, and the increase in premiums was discussed openly in a public meeting. And then it is a bargaining issue, though, because it's been presented into bargaining. I understand it is a pain point for many in the county right now to see their premiums go up. I'm empathetic to that. And we have tried to mitigate that, I think, frequently. And there's a record of that. I hope that we can move forward. I want to make sure that the staff and the people who work here have the coverage that they need, and they're appearing that those things are taken care of. But I would encourage you to look at that intranet website. Still very limited in what we can say. It's easy to present any case you want publicly when it is a bargaining issue, and we're really limited in what we can say right now. But there is a lot more to this story.
Thank you, Commissioner West. Commissioner Fireside.
Natalie, I want to thank you for showing up. From the first time I heard you, I wanted to respond and offer my feedback. And so I will say that the fear of God was put into me about executive session. It was kind of like Fight Club. We just don't talk about it. But I did ask County Council if I could just say something to you directly. And I want you and every county employee to know that your time, talent, and dedication to this county is not lost on me. And I am proud to work beside you, every single one of you, every day. And although I can't speak publicly about what's going on, when we can, I promise you that I will. And all that to say to you, Natalie, just personally, I too am a single mom. And I know the sacrifice and humiliation and dedication that us mamas have to go through. And I just want you to know that you showing up here every week is good work. And I see you and I hear you. And it's people like you and every other county employee that are sitting in this room that makes this county awesome. And you execute our agenda and ensure that we deliver world-class services to our constituents every single day. And so all that to say, I just want to reiterate that, Natalie, I see you and I hear you, and I thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Savas?
Yeah, well, I'd like to echo what, no, I'm not going to, but I just want to echo my my agreement with my colleague who just spoke with regards to our concerns about the employees. As the administrator had shared, I think I took his closing words as to, take a look at it. If you have concerns, express that to your leadership of your particular bargaining unit, I guess. I guess that's the method here. Two things that stuck out that I made a note here I wanted to speak to, Natalie. Two words you used was trust and communicate. And in my history dealing with things, when sometimes we're restricted from talking, obviously communication breaks down because you actually have that restriction in place by law. So we have to abide by the law. So when communication breaks down, whether it's imposed or it's accidental, whatever it may be, then trust can be the consequence, lack of trust. So I'm hopeful that when all the dust settles, that people will see everything and we'll be able to restore that trust. So thank you for hanging in there.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner West?
Just a couple dates and meetings to reference that I think will maybe bring some illumination. Is the October 23rd is the first session where this topic was addressed publicly and was well known and was put out there and presented by staff. There was also November 13th, which is another meeting to make sure that you're watching. And then the final comments around the overall negotiation was December 17th with the board. Those are three important meetings to watch and might bring some additional perspective. And then I encourage you to have conversations with your leadership after watching those meetings.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Schrader?
Well, thank you, Commissioner Fireside, for those wonderful words. As someone who's been here as one of the longest-serving commissioners, I can assure you I share your sentiments, because I have seen how hard people work, and I fully understand without the work of the county, the most vulnerable populations that we serve would not be served right now. and I commend you for your years of service, and I commend you for continuing to serve in your capacities as we go through a negotiation time. I am fully confident and I trust that this will be resolved soon and all things will become clear. And I want to thank you all for someone who served you for all these years as a county commissioner in good faith, that all will become clear and things will be resolved. Thank you.
All right, just before we move on, I want to thank Natalie again and also Michelle. And I want you to know what I hear loud and clear is the passion in your heart. And I also hear the stress and tension that this is causing. So, and lastly, I want to thank you for the important work you do. Clearly, it's a critical role for this county. A lot of people depend on you. And most importantly, I want you to know we're listening. So thank you again for coming, and thank you, Michelle. And so not seeing any other comments by my colleagues, I'll go ahead and close the public communication portion of this meeting. We'll move on. And Gary, what's next agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. Next is a public hearing, and it is annexation of 2024-004, an annexation of a single-family residence into the Clackamas River Water District for domestic water service. No fiscal impact, no county general funds are involved. County Counsel Jane Vetto will present. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. This morning, staff is seeking approval of a boundary change. By way of background, the property owners have petitioned this board. The property is located in an unincorporated Clackamas County at South Ferguson Terrace. Prior to this, the property was served by well water. That well water failed, and so they're seeking annexation into the Clackamas County River Water District, which is currently providing emergency water service to that property. If the board approves this annexation, the district service area will be extended to include the subject property permanently, and again, we'll make this service permanent. Staff has reviewed the county code and state law and believes that annexation is consistent with those, and there is no cost to the county, so we do request annexation at this point, that the property's owner petition be granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Do any commissioners have any questions or comments on that? May I have a motion to approve the annexation?
I move to approve the annexation 2024-004.
Second.
Forgive us, Chief Commissioners, I'm sorry, your script is incorrect. This is a public hearing.
Oh.
So sorry, you need to open for a public hearing. If there's any public comment, I apologize, Commissioners, we missed on the script. I'm so sorry. So Chair, you would just say you're open the public hearing. Are there any comments on this matter, please?
So following Gary's lead on that, I'll open it up for public hearing. And is there any
Sometimes it's a land
one who
use
would
issue
like to testify
sued for
on
it.
behalf of that?
In certain circumstances.
Looks like no one in the room. Andrew, if you'd ask for online, please.
If you're attending this meeting virtually and would like to speak for this public hearing on annexation 2024-004, please raise your hand, and I'll call on you in the order that I see. Mr. Chair, I see none.
So if you'll then close the public hearing, Chair, and then back to board discussion.
Right, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion. I'll open it back up for commissioners for any questions or comments. Seeing none, I might ask for another motion to approve the annexation.
Okay, I move to approve annexation 2024-004.
Second.
It's been approved by Commissioner Savas, seconded by Commissioner Fireside to approve the annexation of 2024-004. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Fireside.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye. Motion is approved, 5-0. Gary, what is up next?
So I'm so sorry, Commissioners. You know, 5 of us look at this, and we all missed it, including me. I'm so sorry. Thank you for being flexible. Won't happen again. Famous last words. All right, next is the consent agenda. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Consent agenda. Item A, elected officials. 1, approval of previous business meeting minutes. 2, approval of an agreement with the Federal Bureau of Land Management for law enforcement services on Bureau of Land Management lands. Agreement value is $820,857.24 for 5 years. Funding is through the Bureau of Land Management. No county general funds are involved. B, finance. 1, approval of an amendment to a public improvement contract with Pace Engineers for engineering services at the Clackamas County Stabilization Center. Amendment value is $22,440. Total agreement value is $155,960 for 18 months. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Administrative Services. No county general funds are involved. C, County Council. 1, approval of a lease amendment with the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission for 9900 Southeast McBrode Avenue in Milwaukee. Amendment value is $2 over 2 years. Funding is through budgeted county general funds. D, Human Resources. 1, approval of the memorandum of agreement for implementation of the final offer for AFS CME CCOM for represented employees. Total value is $42,450. Funding is through ratepayer fees. No county general funds are involved. E, Health, Housing, and Human Services. 1, approval of a change order to a public improvement contract with Pacific Sun Construction for Phase 2 improvements to the Haven House Transitional Housing Facility. Change order value is $195,880.55 for no additional time. Total contract values increased to $763,456.75 for 10 months. Funding is through Metro Supportive Housing Services Measure funds. No county general funds are involved. F, Disaster Management. 1, approval of an amendment to the 2022 Urban Area Security Initiative subrecipient grant agreement with the City of Portland. Amendment value is $16,782. Amendment value increased to $291,782 total. Funding is through the Federal Emergency Management Agency. No county general funds are involved. G, Transportation and Development. 1, approval of a board order vacating a portion of Hemlock Drive, a non-maintained local access road. Vacation fee is $1,505.74. Funding is through the petitioner. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the consent agenda.
Great, thank you. Do any of my fellow colleagues wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Schrader, seconded by Commissioner Savas to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just, Chair, just one thing with regard to Gary's or the agenda, the script error. It looks like the script is written for the chair, and perhaps for making motions, one ought to be written for us on the dais. So there's no language in there actually to technically. I just want to point that out. Not a big deal. I can wing it. I've done it for years. So, but maybe for us, it would help for the commissioners to have a unique script.
Yes, we will take care of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Fireside.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye. Motion is approved 5-0. And Schmidt, what is up next?
Yes, Chair, would you please convene the Water Environment Services Board of Directors?
I will now recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Water Environmental Services Board of Directors.
This is the Water Environment Services consent agenda. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Water Environment Services consent agenda. A, approval of a contract with Parametrics Incorporated for engineering services at the Kellogg Creek Water Resource Recovery Facility Disinfection Project. Total contract value is $470,000 and $702. Funding is through Water Environment Services Sanitary Sewer Construction Fund. No county general funds are involved. B, approval of an amendment with Consor North America Incorporated for construction phase services at the pump station rehabilitation project. Amendment value is $550,341. Total contract value is $3,602,701. Funding is through Water Environment Services Sanitary Sewer Construction Fund. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the consent agenda.
Great, thank you. Do any directors wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the Water Environmental Services consent agenda.
Second?
All right, it's been approved by Director Savas, seconded by Director Fireside to approve the Water Environmental Services consent agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Director Schrader.
Aye.
Director West.
Aye.
Director Fireside.
Aye.
Director Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye, motion's approved 5-0. And Gary, what's up next?
Next is County Administrator Update. That's me. I'd like to share the outstanding work of our county employees during my update. Today, I'd like to recognize the team in the Assessment and Taxation Office. As you know, our Assessment and Taxation teams helps our residents with their property taxes. And two of our employees in Assessment and Taxation were recently recognized by the public. First, property appraiser Audra Hammerschmidt was recognized for her excellent work, and a member of the public wrote, "Please thank Audra. Our lender radically miscalculated our property taxes, and Audra helped us find our actual tax figures. She was quick to respond and was one of the best parts of our home buying process." So thank you, Audra, for your work. Next, Assessment and Taxation Specialist Yumi Little was given recognition for her excellent customer service. And a resident wrote in, "I just wanted to reach out and say thank you for having such professional staff as Yumi. As someone who has performed and taught customer service and technical support for 30 years, I would like to say that Yumi represents the best in customer service and professionalism." Outstanding work, Audra and Yumi, and the entire team in our Assessment and Taxation Office. That is my update for today. Back to you, Chair Roberts.
Thank you, Gary Schmidt. And I'll now, it's time for Commissioner Communication, and Commissioner Schrader, you're first.
Yeah, let me mention a few things. We did have a luncheon the other day with our colleagues who work with us here. And we recognize people who have been here 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 25 years. Often it actually was one time when I was here, we had someone who had given 50 years of service. And we do these luncheons every other month or so. And what we do it for is to recognize the good work that the people who do service here for our citizens is well respected and honored. And we each, actually, everybody gets a chance to speak. Their supervisors have an opportunity to tell people how great they are, which they are. And each person gets a chance to tell a little bit about themselves and what they do outside of work. Because what you do for work and what you do outside of work is equally important for a healthy lifestyle. And Gary, you are excellent in keeping us on time. I appreciate that, and I think that is largely because of your Toastmasters background here. I'm going to be attending a National Association of Counties webinar this afternoon. Basically, it's a training session with Group Borden. I'm a member of the Economic Mobility Leadership Task Force. And what we did for 2 years was pretty much spend time traveling the country, looking at areas that have been shining stars in moving people up the economic mobility ladder. And what we're finding is it isn't just one thing. It's access to education, it's the community that you live in, access to housing, opportunities for workforce training, and the list goes on and on. So what we've done is actually look at all of those elements and work with folks who actually help us, give us the tools to drill down and look at those places where people are succeeding and moving people up the economic mobility ladder. And I can go in more detail with that, but don't have enough time for that now. And I hope to share those tools with my colleagues here. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. The other thing that happened is District 8, we have Julia, this is from the Association of Oregon Counties. District 8, Julia Brem Edwards is now the chair, and my colleague Ben West is now the vice chair, and that's the group that gets together the 3 metropolitan counties to talk about our issues and present them to the broader association of counties. There were a few more things here. I am heading out to Estacada on Saturday for a constituent luncheon. I think there's going to be a bunch of legislators there, but they also asked me to attend, so I'm going to head out and make sure I do that. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll be attending the Governance, Revenue, and Economic Development Steering Committee at the National Association of Counties, and on Monday, going to the in-person to the Legislative Committee and the invitation to the Association of Oregon Counties open house. And people wonder, why are these things so important to us? Well, it's important because this is continuing education, opportunities for us to meet not only our peers here in the state of Oregon, but our peers nationally. So we get to talk about best practices and bring ideas back to our county. One of the ideas I'm bringing back, and I haven't talked to you about this, Gary, so don't freak out, okay? I'm a member of the Women of NACO, and what we've been putting together, and you know I've been working on an education piece for high school students, and we had students come in here to talk about county government, because I believe that we need to have a workforce pathway for people that want to be in public service. I think that's an extremely important thing that we could be doing. And believe it or not, I am a certified teacher. I do have my teaching license, so you know, I'm K-12, so I get to do anybody, I guess. I get to teach all grade levels at this point. So we've been looking at that curriculum based on what the National Association of Counties has put together. And I'm working with our superintendents here in some of our school districts to see how we could implement a program here. The Women of NACO, my dear friend Monique, Commissioner Monique from Michigan, from Detroit, she is the incoming president of the Women of NACO, and we are putting together a program that will bring high school students out to the National Association of Counties at this point, where we give them an opportunity to attend the meetings, and we also do things like take them out to the Smithsonian, take them out to, you know, for me, the Library of Congress is essential. I think we should go to that one. And generally give them a taste of what county government does and give them an opportunity to visit DC. She just sent me the form the other day for a permission form. The issue is that they're starting this at the end of the month. So for us to be involved at this directly at this time is going to be a little problematic, but I'm going to have Jane look over the permission form. I want to stay involved in this, and I want to do the outreach to our educators, particularly those who teach civics and poli-sci in high schools, anybody that's interested to have this opportunity. Workforce pipelines are critical, and I will be meeting with, let's see, it's going to be Bridget and Brooke this coming week, or maybe actually it's next week, I think. Well, anyway, it's on here somewhere. Yeah, actually, it's next week on the 13th with the Clackamas Workforce Partnership. I've been on that board for many, many, many years, and it's a privilege to keep working with those folks. And some of our successes, we were instrumental at the time in helping Clackamas Community College expand its nursing program when we realized that the healthcare sector didn't have enough nurses, lab techs, and whatever. The result of that was the Harmony campus. Outside, you know, where Clackamas, you know, our big mall is out there, but Clackamas Community College has a campus there that specializes in nursing training and lab tech training. We used urban renewal dollars to make that happen, and had the support of the county, you know, to do that, help that happen. So we have an active role in assessing what is necessary for workforce, and then moving forward with strategies to make sure those pipelines succeed. So that's all I got today.
Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Great.
Commissioner Savas, you're up.
Yeah, I got a couple things here today. First one is I want to just let you all know that we have been in discussions with TriMet for trying to expand service and get agreements along that lines. And digressing on that to some degree, for over a year, or about a year now, they're called PTSPs, public transit service providers, have been working with TriMet really at a staff level to try and resolve some of these issues and get a continuation and perhaps increases for provision of services in some of the areas of Clackamas County, particularly those that we call transit deserts where there's no transit. You've heard me mention this before, but I just want to give you an update. We had our last meeting yesterday morning. I will tell you that, I got involved here about a couple months ago, and, I came in with an open mind. I still have an open mind. I'm trying to figure out a way, but these STIF dollars, particularly STIF, is one of the programs that came out of HB 2017. Unlike the employer paid transit tax, which has been in existence for as long as I can recall. So what's unique about this is that it is paid by the employees. The goal is basically to make sure you're serving. For example, if you got access from your front door, and access is considered in two different metrics: one, quarter mile from where you live to a transit stop, or half mile. And we use the quarter mile one, especially because of our topography challenges. A half mile going up a hill is a lot different than a quarter mile going up a hill. So all to say that, we still have these challenges, and I'm going to actually consult with Jane here on a legal question I have that came out of a meeting yesterday. So when I have that question answered, I might give you some greater updates and figure out what our PTSPs are, what their position is, which I don't know today. But I can tell you that Clackamas County is also a PTSP. We provide transit. We have a shuttle here locally that we just implemented in the industrial area through Clackamas and Oregon City. And also, we provide the service up the mountain, the Mount Hood Express. So good ridership. They're all successful programs. We want to grow it. And our transit providers are doing a great job of trying to make connections in areas where we don't have any, just to make best out of those dollars. So I want to applaud all our PTSPs for their efforts and working outside their boundaries in particular. Apparently, TriMet has a restriction where they can't work outside their boundaries, but I just want to applaud them for all the work that they're doing to try to just serve people in Clackamas County. So with that said, I do want to talk about, and just if you indulge me, but as Natalie and others have, and we talked here today and the week before, I think it's important for maybe some of my new colleagues to understand my history as an employer. I've been self-employed almost my entire life, but particularly I'll just talk about when I moved to Clackamas. When I moved to Clackamas County, I moved my business from Eugene, and part of the reason I moved my business to Eugene, I had a hard time finding people to hire. The labor pool was less than ideal, and yet a lot of unemployment in Eugene, but couldn't get people to show up to work. And so it was difficult to hire people. So I came here. I found a building. I'll never forget as long as I live. I knew I was going to increase my business about 4 to 5 times. So I had 4 to 5 more times of space that I committed to and signed a 5-year lease. It was a big deal. I didn't have a lot of funds to do that with, but I did have I felt I could do it. And I remember sitting when I first got the keys, and I sat down in the building. I'm looking at this building, thinking, oh my gosh, I knew I had a challenge hiring people. I said, I really value the people that I had, and I'm really going to need. No business can be successful without employees for the most part. Some can, sure, small ones, but and I didn't have a large scale business. I don't want anyone to think that I had thousands of employees, but it was challenging. One of the first things I did to incentivize people didn't have to, but I did it because I wanted to have an incentive to people come to work, because I paid their health insurance, full coverage. And back in the day, it was $30 for an individual. It was $50 for a family. And I paid that from the time I started my business in Clackamas to the time I closed it. I'll just tell you that when I left, those premiums were $2,000 a month. So just imagine how much that cost. It was very, very tough. The other aspect I really want to talk about when it comes to being an employer is, number one, you want to nurture them, you want to mentor them, you want to help them develop their skills, and people take pride in their work. You make friends at work. Career building, professional development are all part of doing that, and we do that well here at Clackamas County. We have a great benefits package, but we really care about our employees, and I'm often stunned about how many programs we do have for career development and opportunities. And Gary, through your leadership, you've been part of that. I want to, acknowledge your hard work in that and our dedication of that. To my shout out, and yesterday, as Martha mentioned, we had our luncheon to celebrate, the service of our employees in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 35-year increments. And people have been here a long time. Sometimes we become friends and family almost, people who work here with their colleagues. And it's just a great event to acknowledge and just take the moment in time to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know what it's like on both sides, on both levels. And we always do our best to value the work that they do and also the service they provide. So thank you. And Chair, I yield back.
Thank you, Commissioner Savas. Commissioner West?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everybody, and to the ruckus crowd before us, listening to us opine. It's been we've been kind of going at warp speed, at least in this first quarter. It feels like it's just a few weeks, feels like it's been 2 years. A lot's gone on. Really some interesting stuff today. I will be doing an interview and highlighting the village that we're establishing right next to the Veterans Village with KPTV. They're going to come out and look at one of our successes. I'm excited to highlight where we are doing things really well within our recovery-oriented system of care. And where we have pockets of excellence, they should be noted. It helps us really build trust with the community where they see us engage in a way that actually helps people get the care that they need, and good use of public funds and good outcomes where people are on a pathway to recovery and self-sufficiency. We're going to highlight that today with the media. Also talk about the Veterans Village. I just want to take a minute. Far before I was on this board, Commissioner Savas, especially Commissioner Savas, I believe also Commissioner Humbertson, am I correct, in his efforts with the Veterans Village? And Martha. You guys were champions about getting that off the ground when we weren't getting enough of that from the state or from the metro area. And so that is now replicatable. You guys were on point when you did it. You guys faced serious headwinds from probably both sides of the ideological political spectrum. And I've heard the stories from both Commissioner Savas and Schrader about how that was difficult to build the trust with our community. But it's worked really well, and it's been replicated, and now we're replicating it again. And we have such a fantastic relationship with the businesses that are surrounding those services that we provide, and we're partnering with them, and we are engaging with them, and we're making sure they're supported in a way where their businesses are not impacted negatively. And I'm very thankful for those relationships with the surrounding businesses. All Men provides services. They're an outreach organization that just happens to be well located for that specific population, and they help with a lot of the clothing and the food and a lot of the other kind of basic needs and services for people in that population. But this gets people off the streets. This gets people on a pathway to recovery and treatment and care that they need, and they're going to be able to have the dignity of having a place to call their own and a community to engage with. We're very excited about this, so I'm excited to share this with the media today. I just wanted to give the community an update. I don't know when they're going to air it, but keep an eye out on KPTV about some successes in Clackamas County, and I'm honored to represent this board and organization there. We're going to have Lipsick is happening this evening. I'll be representing the board for Lipsick. That's the local public safety coordinating council, and that is where a lot of us local electeds get together, and we try to figure out kind of a continuum of care and interventions for both juvenile and adult offenders that kind of allows them to get into our system seamlessly and emphasizes safe communities while preventing crime, and then community safety. It also is the committee that worked hard on this deflection program last legislative session when we were talking about deflection and getting that funded. So the sheriff has been an excellent partner, DA John Wentworth, our staff, elected judges, myself, and so really just trying on a local level, trying to figure out solutions to get ahead of this, and we've done a really good job. I think I like to see, of course, see this expanded. We have a similar program that's really well done and maybe a little more robust in Marion County, but this has been a very evidence-based approach, and so I'm excited to do our quarterly meeting tonight. I'll report back on that. So much going on. And then we're gonna, as a board, we're gonna need to have a conversation about the task force for SHS and moving forward with that. As I collaborate with Council President Peterson, I know that often Clackamas County is at odds with Metro. No one is shocked by that. Not by this board or previous boards, but we have had our run-ins. I am going to give Council President Peterson some kudos today, because I think that she is putting this task force together and this work group to maybe chart a different path in the metro area on how to deal with this homelessness and behavioral health crisis that we see persist. And at a certain point, we have to come together as local leaders, and it's not, as Martha would say, not right, not left, but forward, right, Commissioner Schrader? And I feel that partnership and some real change maybe starting to happen with some local electeds. Now, it's going to take some bold leadership from those of us that want to bring a different idea, a different ethos in how we deal with this, but I'm excited to co-chair with her this work group, and we will be able to have one other representative from the board. I know the conversations have happened, and I don't think we're making that decision today. Maybe it's next week, but I'm excited about championing the successes and the worldview and the ethos that has caused Clackamas County to be kind of what I call a pocket of excellence in this area. And so as we move forward, I'm excited to figure out how to bring better drug policy, better work around recovery and treatment, and to make sure that we are collaborating with all levels of government. We just talked last meeting about the needs for the state to step in, the three big counties and AOC and the rest of the counties to get on the same page. We can't do this without our federal partners, and finding that balance and being honest about reflecting on what hasn't worked in the Portland area and making a pivot to some common sense solutions that allow us to really get a handle on this. And so I hope that the electeds in Oregon look at honestly about where we have been and where we are going, and how do we galvanize all the layers of government in our system to come together to deal with this crisis. We are all affected by it. And so I'm hoping that we can begin to build those relationships, not just locally, but also statewide and federally. We need to get on the same page and figure out how to find that balance in Oregon and figure this out. And so we're committed to do that through this work group, find out what our true north is, our North Star. I think that that's going to be a big part of this, is having a conversation in the Portland area. What is our philosophical belief system to drive this? Where can we look to other places that we've never looked before outside of our echo chamber? And where can we be effective in local government that impacts people's lives? It's going to be a big task. And so I look forward to working with my colleagues on this dais and in the region to just get it done, and to build the trust with the electorate, because we've lost it. And we should do that before we ask for more money. So I'll leave it at that. It's going to be a busy week. It's a crazy day, and I look forward to doing the work of Clackamas County. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner West. Commissioner Fireside.
Thank you. This week I met with the Clackamas County Business Alliance, and we had a really great discussion about business, workforce, SHS, and childcare in particular. We discussed a consortium model, and it's a sustainable and quickly executed model that I'm very passionate about, and I look very much forward to discussing and sharing information on those childcare models and how they've been active and sustainable for many decades across other areas of our country. I also met with a member of our planning commission. I do watch our planning commission meetings and very much appreciate their just tireless work. And we talked about the upcoming flood insurance impacts and just other things that they have covered. And also had a meeting about the Sandy Watershed Council. So if you are in Sandy, there is a new council that has been formed, and they created just a really amazing, resilient, equity-based model for the people that live in that particular area. Coming up, I am speaking at the monthly Stafford Hamlet meeting, which I'm excited about. And then I am also meeting with Sport Oregon to see just where they at with the investments that they'll be making in our region. So with that, I'll yield back, Chair. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Just a few things I wanted to kind of touch on. One and foremost is it's really cold outside. And I just want to say, we all need to kind of be careful out there, and what I want to ask everybody to do is check on your elderly neighbors or our vulnerable population. PG bills are extremely high, as we all know, and they've been increasing dramatically. And I know people are struggling with that. And so it really takes all of us to kind of look out for our neighbors. And I would encourage in these cold weathers to see if they need, transportation to get food or anything. And it's really looking out for our neighbors. Second of all, I want to, again, I'm going to keep thanking county administrative staff. We are going 100 miles an hour, and I want to thank Gary and the staff. We have been meeting back-to-back with department heads, elected officials. I've been meeting with mayors, Washington County Chair, other commissioners across the state of Oregon. And really, my role and responsibility, I feel right now, is being a good listener, identifying what those needs and concerns that people have, and hopefully bring those back and share those with my colleagues. So we've been working really diligently on that. The second thing, I was just down in Salem, and I'll just be honest with you, it's almost like speed dating, because I am running from one legislator to the next, and really working hard to get money to come back here to Clackamas County. And Trent was amazing. He really guided me through all the individuals that I need to meet with and made good efficient of our time. And I know they're incredibly busy at this time. Also, kind of a shout out to Commissioner Savas, who's really been working hand in hand with me and others on North Clackamas Parks Rec, and trying to kind of resolve some issues that we're working with the city of Milwaukee. So I want to thank you for your help on that. And also, the three of us are going to NACO, and as I told Commissioner West, I haven't had a chance to tell Commissioner Schrader, but Casey Gwynn, who's kind of the leader in the National Family Justice Center Alliance, is going to be down there, and there's meetings, and one of the things that our hope in our future is to have a family justice center here on the campus. So we're hoping to learn more about the national effort.
And Chair, I don't mean to interrupt. I have to go to a webinar, but I don't want to be disrespectful.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Martha.
Okay.
All right. And I'm wrapping it up real quick, and just a kind of a quick shout out to Commissioner West, and that is on this recovery campus. I think both of us are extremely excited about this recovery campus and what can happen there. That was one of the big issues. I was rallying for funds down in Salem and how important it is, and he's really been leading that. Also, issues with Metro. And so just want to let folks, we're working very hard on this recovery campus, and our goal is to really make a difference for those struggling with addiction and mental illness. So with that, that's my brief update. I want to thank everybody for joining us. If there's no further business, this meeting will be adjourned, and thank you.